YouTube, I'm back. Today is a very special video because I am teaming up with my husband Aaron to answer some insurance questions that we got on Instagram. So Aaron is an insurance agent. He primarily sells commercial insurance, but he also sells personal lines insurance as well. And we've gotten some questions from people on Instagram recently about insurance, and I realized how many people have questions that they don't know how to answer. So I sent out a little question post in my story a few weeks back, and I wrote down all of the questions that people had, and I'm going to sit down with Aaron, read him the questions. He is going to answer them for you all to hear. Here he is now. Here's Aaron. This is Aaron's YouTube debut. We are figuring out this YouTubing together thing, so enjoy. We're gonna go through some questions. I'm gonna read the questions to Aaron. He'll answer them. So, little disclaimer in the beginning from Aaron about insurance tips. Aaron, what's the disclaimer?
Insurance laws vary by state, and you should check with your local independent insurance agent to make sure my advice actually meets your needs.
Right, because this might not actually apply to you. We live in the state of Washington. Aaron is licensed in multiple states, or is that the term? Licensed? Okay. Licensed in multiple states, but most of what he does is in Washington. So if you don't live in Washington, this information may vary. So keep that in mind, talk to your agent, but this might put a little seed in your mind to maybe have some questions for your agent. All right, so the first questions, we're gonna try and kind of categorize these questions. We have a pretty long list. I have them in front of me. I'm gonna read them to Aaron, and we're gonna try and keep them topic specific, I guess. So most of the questions that we got were about renter's insurance, and I think that there's a lot of people who are on their debt-free journey or working towards financial freedom, and they are renting and don't know a whole lot about renter's insurance. So the first question is kind of a twofer. This was kind of I'm combining two questions. So Aaron, do you recommend getting renter's insurance? Someone said, do you recommend getting renter's insurance for a short period of time, and is it worth it?
I recommend it. It's worth it. It's cheap. You should definitely get it if you're a renter.
Why?
Because you face a lot of risks being a renter. Your stuff could get stolen. The house could burn up. Somebody could come over to your house, trip and fall, and sue you. And you need renter's insurance to cover all of those things.
Okay, so the next question about renter's insurance is, why can't I get rental coverage with just property only and not, or they don't need liability?
Okay, so everyone needs liability insurance, first of all. Secondly, renter's insurance is designed kind of like a homeowner's insurance policy, but for someone that doesn't own a home, and it's built as a solution that's for everybody, not just one person. So it's kind of a one solution fits all, and so it covers liability insurance, it covers property insurance, and a couple other things as well.
Cool. All right, so those were the renter's insurance questions. We had some homeowner's insurance questions as well, so we will kind of go over those ones. The first homeowner's insurance question, which is kind of broad, is what are the most important components to include in a homeowner's policy?
It really depends upon your specific need. For example, you could live on 5 acres and have a tractor you need to cover. You could have things like firearms or jewelry, which need to be covered separately if you have a lot of them. But mostly you're going to want to look at, and again, you'll want to review this with your independent insurance agent, but look at how much your house is covered for, which is also called Coverage A or dwelling coverage. And you'll want to look at personal property insurance, also called Coverage C, to make sure that they're adequate for the amount of stuff that you have.
So the next question is add-on sewer coverage worth it?
I usually think it's worth it. It's fairly cheap, and it covers for water that can back up in your house. Yes, nasty water that can back up in your house from your sewer system or your septic system, depending on how water leaves your home.
So, would you say if my toilet overflowed with raw sewage, would that be covered under sewer coverage?
That depends upon where it came from. If it's a flood-related incident, no, that's not covered. But if your city's sewer pump failed and sewage then backed up into your home, that could be covered.
Where else would sewage come from if it backed up into your house other than your toilet?
It could come from your neighbor's house.
So if your neighbor...
If you had a large flooding event, like has happened in the southern states, you could have sewage running through your entire neighborhood and come into your home.
Oh, like it's out on the streets. Ooh. Okay, sewer coverage. Who knew that was a thing? The next question, do I need earthquake and or tornado insurance?
Okay, so if you're living on the west part of the United States, you might want to consider earthquake insurance depending upon where you live and how much your home is worth. Earthquake insurance can be bought as like a standalone policy or as an add-on to your homeowner's insurance. The tornado insurance sometimes isn't actually a separate policy. It's typically built into your homeowner's insurance for states that are not in Tornado Valley, but for states that are in Tornado Valley, you'll typically want to buy a separate tornado policy. Tornadoes would typically be covered under the peril called wind, which is in your homeowner's policy, and therefore you wouldn't need a separate tornado policy. In some states, that's not true. You'll need that separate policy.
Do we have tornado coverage?
No.
Is that because we do not live in Tornado Alley?
That's correct.
So a few years ago, there was a tornado nearby us, and it caused people damage. If that happened to our house, would we have been covered under wind?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Good to know. Do we have earthquake coverage?
No, we don't.
Should we have earthquake coverage?
It's something we should consider. We just haven't purchased it at this time.
Is it more expensive because of where we live?
Yes, it is.
Things to think about. Our final homeowner's insurance question is, if your house is paid for, congratulations, your house is paid for, do you have to have insurance?
You don't have to have insurance, and you might have enough money to replace your home if it was to get burnt down or destroyed in some sort of event. So no, you don't have to have insurance, but for the amount that it costs you on an annual basis for that insurance, you should probably keep it.
So if someone broke into your house and stole everything, and you owned your house and didn't have insurance, if you could replace everything, then you wouldn't have to file a claim.
It's true. Well,
right?
If you didn't have insurance, you couldn't file a
well,
claim.
Truth. If your house burned down, but you could rebuild and put everything else in it because you had so much money, you wouldn't have to worry about insurance.
If your house burned down and it literally wouldn't affect you at all, like you could just rebuild it, you don't have to have insurance.
But what if someone fell in your house and sued you? You wouldn't have coverage for that.
No, you wouldn't have coverage for that. And typically, liability insurance, which is built into every homeowner's insurance policy, is fairly inexpensive.
So you should probably just get insurance. All right, so that is all of the homeowner's insurance questions. Next up, we have car insurance questions. So the first one is not really a question. It's more of a general wondering. Someone wants to know just general information about car insurance. Aaron asked, what does that even mean? And I said, how would you explain insurance to someone if they had no idea? Like, why do I even have car insurance, Aaron? What does all of this mean?
Sure. So it covers several things, obviously. It covers liability. Well, not obviously, because
I don't know.
Didn't know that. It covers liability, meaning damage you could cause to someone else or their property. It covers for collision. That's replacing your car should you get into an accident. It covers comprehensive, which covers things other than collision, like if your car got stolen, if it caught on fire, if you hit an animal, that's also covered under comprehensive insurance. It covers PIP, which is personal injury protection. PIP covers for your immediate medical attention needs. It can also cover for your lost income or cover to pay for a funeral if you or one of your occupants of your car died. It covers for what's called loss of use or rental car coverage, meaning if you got into an accident and your car was destroyed and you needed a rental car, your insurance could pay for a rental car for you, which, by the way, you should always get increased rental car coverage because you don't want to get stuck driving a Toyota Yaris size car. And
that's our 2 cars. We have 2 Toyota Yaris's. Anyways.
It can cover for roadside assistance and towing if you add that, and also cover for gap insurance, meaning if you do have a loan on a car, it can cover the difference between what the car is worth and what the insurance company would normally give you for the depreciated value on your car.
What if you get into a car accident with someone who does not have insurance? What's that covered under?
Great question. And that would be covered under underinsured and or uninsured motorist coverage.
Is that included in all car insurance plans?
That's a good question too. It depends upon the state. Some states make you buy that coverage. Some don't make you buy that coverage. It's a coverage you should have. Also, make sure you have uninsured motorist property damage, which covers for the damage someone can cause to your vehicle if they don't have insurance.
Makes sense. Now I understand car insurance. Our next question is, if I have an old car, is it worth having total coverage?
See, total coverage, and sometimes called full coverage, isn't actually a thing. It's a myth. So coming back to, should you have total coverage on your car? The coverage you should have on your car depends on your situation. It could be an older car, but it still could be worth quite a bit of money, and you might want to continue having collision comprehensive on that car. Consider if that car was to get damaged and you couldn't drive it anymore due to a covered accident, would you be able to write a check and replace that? You might not be able to, so you might want to continue having collision and comprehensive insurance.
So when we had good old Giselle, our 98 Honda Civic, rest in pieces, did we have total coverage or all these things on it?
Negative. We had liability insurance only.
Really? I thought we had more than that.
No.
Oh, okay. Because it was worth $500? Actually, we
it might have been
$350.
worth like $1,200.
Oh, well, with the engine dead, $350.
Right.
Okay, so the next question is, should I get the additional car insurance on a rental?
That's a question I get all the time. I have a customer that calls me and they're standing at the Hertz rental line and they say, Aaron, should I buy the rental car coverage? Well, it depends. The collision or comprehensive on your insurance policy will cover you, depending upon the policy again and your state, will cover you for renting a car, and it will cover for damage you could cause to that car. But typically what it won't cover is the rental car company's lost time, meaning if they aren't able to rent out that car, they will lose income and then they will charge you for that lost income. So what I typically recommend people do, they buy the extra rental car coverage.
Even though there is a little coverage
Right.
already.
Mm-hmm.
Good to know. I didn't know they could bill you for that.
Yeah. They can also bill you for gas you don't put in the tank if you crash the car and the car didn't have a full tank of gas.
Give me a break.
Happened to a friend of ours.
Really? Oh. Huh. Our next couple questions are kind of general insurance questions. They didn't really fit into any of those categories before. So the first one is, what is the best way to decide coverage needs?
The best way to decide your coverage needs is to talk to your independent insurance agent, and they can ask you about your life, your home, the things you own, things you plan on doing with all those things, and help you create a plan to cover your stuff and your life.
What is an independent insurance agent?
An independent insurance agent is somebody who, like myself, quotes insurance through many different insurance companies. So I don't have to go with a specific insurance company. Like if you're a State Farm agent, you quote State Farm Insurance and that's it. I can quote many different brands, and often I can find the best deal for you as a result.
Next question is the bundle deal always the best deal?
Depends on your specific situation, and again, you want to talk to your independent insurance agent and they can tell you whether bundling your home and auto is the best deal for you. Sometimes it isn't.
Finally, Our last bonus question, I'm going to call it. It's not, well, it is kind of a question, but this came up because, well, this whole insurance topic came up on Instagram because on Christmas Eve, we had a pipe burst under our house. Aaron woke up in the middle of the night. We had no water. We went into our crawl space and it was flooded. And people on Instagram were suggesting that we file a claim through our homeowner's insurance to pay for the cost of the repair. It ended up costing us about $487. And so we started talking, well, Aaron, being our agent, mentioned to people on Instagram why filing a $487 claim on our homeowner's policy is not the smartest idea. And people did not know that that was a thing. So Aaron, tell the people of YouTube, why would we not want to claim a $487 claim?
Well, there was two problems in our specific situation. Our deductible was higher than the amount of money that was. Secondly, claiming small things on your homeowner's insurance can raise your premiums drastically on your homeowner's insurance. It can also limit your ability to continue to get homeowner's insurance for a reasonable rate in the future. So if you're going to file a homeowner's insurance claim, make sure it's worth it. And by worth it, I mean try to do claims that are $5,000 and over. And unfortunately, yeah, some small stuff might happen, but it's going to save you more money in the long run by not claiming those small things than claiming them.
So if a tornado came through, well, yeah, a tornado came through and ripped off part of our roof and the repair was $8,000, should we file a claim for that, or should we pay the $8,000 and have it repaired ourselves?
I think that question would really depend upon your specific situation. For us at this time, that would be a homeowner's claim I would want to turn in. But for some people, $8,000 wouldn't be that big of a deal, and we might not want to turn it in.
So would you say after we finish funding baby step 3 and we have our $30,000 in emergency savings, we would still file a claim, or would we just cash flow the repair?
I think at that time, I would consider cash flowing the repair and not worrying about it.
Because it's just a small portion of our savings, right, and we could save it back up. And so if we did file a claim for that, our policy could potentially get more expensive?
It could potentially get more expensive. It could potentially be non-renewed, or the insurance company might limit our coverages in the future. For example, if we claimed something like our roof getting ripped off, which would be a wind claim, then our insurance company could raise our deductible for wind claims, or they might exclude wind claims in the future.
Oh, ouch. So really, insurance companies don't want you to use them.
Correct.
You know, I don't know how I feel about that. That's it. Those are all the questions, well, most of the questions that we got on Instagram. Thank you to Aaron for joining us for this, his first YouTube video. Celebrity interview with Aaron. If you would like to see more of Aaron on my channel, he's kind of like in the background often, especially on Instagram. Sometimes you can hear him like saying something in the background.
Think of me as a unicorn.
Oh, magical unicorn who will pop in every once in a while. But comment below if you want to see more of Aaron. I'm going to try and convince him to do more with me. If you liked what you saw today, make sure to subscribe below, follow me on Instagram, and also subscribe to my blog newsletter. That would be awesome too. And I'll see you next time.